Hello there, a very good morning to you. Thank you so much for watching Smart 24 TV and joining us this morning for another edition of the financial markets. My name is Anthony Sebali. Now, to catch the show, you can be able to follow us on Twitter at Smart 24 TV. My personal handle is at Anthony Sebali. You can also follow us on our YouTube live stream, that is at Smart 24 TV. That's our YouTube channel, and get the latest on the content of business and the latest on the global, regional, and domestic financial markets. And of course, to bring you this show is proudly Altex East Africa, telling you about the treasury bond market here in East Africa, which they're making easy to access through their Zabu initiative. Now, under Zabu with Altex, we are saying you can simply dial *292#. And through following the prompts, you can be able to buy the bonds, or you can be able to register, you can be able to learn more about the products and trade on the East African Treasury bond market. With Altex East Africa, we are saying you can do something new. A very good day, of course, here. Today is a Tuesday, and we are saying that the week for women is here. Women's Day is tomorrow. And we are very, very excited that women are going to be celebrated. But we have always celebrated women in business, especially women who have done some entrepreneurship, women who have been able to create impact, both social and political, economic, and in terms of the policies that have been framed particularly to support women. And for Smart 24 TV, we still say we support women, and we shall continue to advocate for women. And this being a Women's Day, this being a Women's Week, we are saying that we are celebrating women. So a big shout out to all the women out there, and a big pat on the back for those of you who have been able to achieve great things, and still encouraging young women, especially in the world of investment, that you can do it. Anyone in this space is welcome. There's so many great women on the in the American market that have made money off the stock exchange. So many women have been able to invest and make a difference. So can you. So definitely, I'm looking forward to that. And as well, let's get rolling into the markets of Monday. Now, as per Monday, on the Uganda Securities Exchange, generally there was a decline in the number of equities that participated in trading, with the only trader being MTN Uganda. Now, only one single equity was traded. However, there were a couple of gainers and losers on the market. Nation Media Group was the only gainer, with a 0.17% share price appreciation, up to at least 423.69 Ugandan shillings. Jubilee Holdings Limited stock declined at 0.71%, giving us the biggest decline for the day, down to a price of 5,310.66 Ugandan shillings. As well, Centum Investments Limited lost 0.39% of their trading price, down to 261.18 Ugandan shillings. Equity Bank Limited lost at least 0.39%, down to a price of 1,317.51 Ugandan shillings. East African Breweries Limited lost 0.31%, down to 5,071.25 Ugandan shillings. Kenya Airways also dropped up some value on the first weekday of trading, at least 0.17%, down to a price of 111.15 Ugandan shillings per share that was traded. Now, as far as trading is concerned, as I mentioned, only one entity traded, that is MTN Uganda, with a total volume of at least 105,000 shares that were traded. This brought to an end last week, where we had the biggest volumes for the year so far that were traded on Stanbic Bank Uganda, which rallied the stock market with volumes as high as 60 million and 30 million on Friday and Thursday respectively, which were some of the biggest trades for the year. Remarkable trades there from Stanbic Bank Uganda as per last week. Monday started with a little bit of a slow pace, with MTN starting the day with 105,000 shares that were traded. Now, MTN counter currently still maintains the price of 175 shillings. MTN declined from 177 last week to 175 shillings, dropping off 2 shillings. Another very worrying situation probably for some of the shareholders there who started with the company at 200 shillings per share during its initial public offer in 2021. The market capitalization of MTN consequently dropped to 3.92 trillion from 4.12 trillion a couple of weeks back, and this was now currently coming down to a representation of just about 19% of the entire Uganda Securities Exchange equities market. The 105,912 shares accrued at least a value of 18.5 million shillings that was traded on the exchange. A total of 22.4 billion shares are still currently floated on the exchange. Now, recently, MTN has declined in value. At least 2.78% has been shed off in year-to-date performance since the beginning of the year. They have lost at least 2.78%, and this means they are the 9th in terms of year-to-date performance on the exchange. MTN Uganda has also maintained their position as the second biggest traders on the market in the last 3 months, coming behind Stanbic, of course, which is way above and beyond. Currently, in the last 3 months, from the 30th of November to the 6th of March, MTN Uganda has so far recorded a volume of at least 21.7 million shares, and these are valued at 3.91 billion Ugandan shillings. Over the period, they have also had an average of at least 344,591 traded shares. Now, the business of MTN is telecommunications, and MTN got listed in 2021 as an electronic initial public offer, the one of a kind that we had in East Africa. And since then, the company has been up and down from between at least 195 shillings to 175. And looking at the current price at 175, I think this is the rock bottom for this year, but also not just for this year, for a very long time in 2022. Because when you look back in 2022, they had their lowest price at 160 shillings. That was their price flow last year for the trading throughout the year. And now at 175, they're getting even very much closer to that kind of pricing, which is quite worrying. But is it all going to ruins? I don't think so, because MTN issued a dividend last year, and last year was their first year of listing on the exchange, and they issued a dividend of 4.7 shillings per share. That means for every share every shareholder had on the counter, they were given at least 4.7 shillings as gain or as dividend. That meant a lot, and definitely there's still a lot of issues concerning whether they will or not issue dividends this year. But at least 98% shareholders are optimistic that they will probably issue a dividend this year as well. And remember, this is March, and March is the month most companies have their fiscal year closing, and the books will have to be released. And according to the listing rules of the Uganda Securities Exchange, every listed equity is supposed to release their financial reports in newspapers at least within a month of issue. So in the month, they will definitely be able to issue those to the public, and probably their annual general meeting will also be held, and we will see what MTN looked like this year, the past financial year. But as per right now, the current pricings, MTN stock is valued at 175 Ugandan shillings, which is the lowest price this year. And what does that mean for you, a shareholder? Definitely a time that you could probably buy shares into the company, because I know at a certain point it's not going to go any further, and I'm pretty sure probably at 165, 160, that's when we shall have a bounce back, and that bounce back could be very strong at a gain of at least 20 shillings or 15 shillings, which is a good value. It's a good amount of value for you as a shareholder. So like I always advise, always buy when the stocks are going down. Yes, right now MTN is going down, but it is the best time to buy their stock at the moment. Now, as far as the All Share Index is concerned, the index paired at least 2.66 points, losing 0.22% of its value on Monday after losing on many of the cross-listed stocks. Now, currently, the All Share Index is counting a 1 week loss of 0.88% and a 4 week loss of at least 1.25% and an overall year-to-date loss of 1.33%. The USE Local Company Index currently has a value of 273.12 points, which it maintained on Monday due to stagnation in prices of the domestic stocks on the Uganda Securities Exchange. And that's my trade, my friend, the trading from the Uganda Securities Exchange. Remember to trade on the exchange. All you need is an SCD account, and you can just go to your MTN line if you're an MTN user, and you dial *165 *57 hash, and following the prompts you can be able to open that account. Or you can go online at www.use.org.com and get to the Easy Portal. Under the Easy Portal, we have an option for signing in, and you can sign in with your email and put in the details of your national identification number and your passport number if you're a foreigner, and the rest is history. It's absolutely free of charge to open this account, and trading always starts with, first of all, choosing a stockbroker. Stockbrokers are the intermediaries that happen to be in between the investors and the exchange. So if you want to be able to trade on the exchange, first of all, you need to get a licensed stockbroker. We have 5 of them, including SBG Securities, including UAP Old Mutual, including as well the Dyer and Blair Investment Company, and the Cheaper Technologies, which is the new entrant on the block. So you can check out any of them and conveniently be able to buy shares on the exchange. Trading happens between 9 a.m. and 1 p.m. East African Standard Time. And you just need to get in touch with your stockbroker and have that deal settled for you. We have 18 companies up for grab. 8 of these are domestic cross listings, and 10 of these are domestic listings. And if you're also out there and you want to get your company listed, because when you look at the stock market, it's a platform for raising capital, so you can always get to list on the exchange. And the Uganda Securities Exchange has put in place a Dala. This Dala platform is a ladder in English words, which means that they are supporting small and medium enterprises who cannot meet the requirements for listing on the main board, but at least can have a place where they can be able to be groomed into companies that are worthy of listing on the main board. So you can also take advantage of this and get your company listed, get to raise that capital, get to have your company get to become a public limited company. It's something that you might not regret as well. Away from the Uganda Securities Exchange, off to Nairobi, where we had also a kind of decline in the All Share Index. As per the trading from the exchange, at least 44 listings participated out of the 65 listings on the Nairobi Securities Exchange, leaving the day with 18 gainers and 17 losers on the market. Flame Tree Group Holdings led the gainers with a 9.17% share price appreciation, closing at 1.19 Kenyan shillings per share. And these were followed by East African Breweries Limited at 6.7% depreciation in price, and Stanbic Holdings at 6% gain in price. Bamburi Cement also gained at least 5.99% on the Nairobi Securities Exchange. On the losing side, Car and General Kenya lost most on the day with an end of day price depreciation of 6.85%, closing at Kenyan shillings 34.0. Whereas Nairobi Securities Exchange itself lost 4.31%. Remember, NSE is a demutualized stock exchange, meaning it is listed on the Nairobi Securities Exchange as well as a public Liability Limited Company, and currently holds one of the most valuable stocks as well on the exchange. Jubilee Holdings Limited also lost 4.08%, and TransCentury Limited at least 3.64%. Safaricom still came out as the biggest mover with a total record of 4.61 million traded shares, followed by Kenya Power and Lighting Company that also had about 402,900 shares, and Equity Group Holdings with at least 380,300 shillings. The Cooperative Bank of Kenya also had about a volume of 373,800 shares on the market. Regarding the performance of the NSE market indices, the benchmark index, the all share index, shared off at least 0.38 points to close at 125.79 points, and representing currently a 1 week gain of 0.34% and a year-to-date loss of 1.34%. The other remarkable indices like the NSE 20 and the NSE 25 both appreciated by 0.66% and 0.48% respectively. Why these indices are very important? Because the NSE 25 tracks the top 25 companies on the Nairobi Securities Exchange, and you can invest in an exchange traded fund. The exchange traded fund gives you an investment where you can make one-off investment in several companies. So let's say you have 100,000 and you want to, you want to just invest in several stocks to kind of reduce the risk that you can get involved in if you're totally investing all at once in one company. You can do the exchange traded fund, and this is a good way investors go buy risky assets. And these all share indices and the other indices on the Nairobi Securities Exchange help you to just do that, because they track aggregate performance of the specific stocks. The NSE 20 tracks the top 20, and the NSE 25 tracks the top 25. So you can decide to invest in those alone, and it's possible. You can always do that depending on your interests and desires as a shareholder in the company. Let's have a look at the East African Breweries Limited stock and Stanbic Holdings, because this was the biggest gainers of the day at the exchange. With East African Breweries Limited currently listing with about 7.55% of the entire Nairobi Securities Exchange, with a total market capitalization of 148 billion. The stock closed yesterday with an 11.75 shillings gain, up to 6.7%, down up to about 187 Kenyan shillings per share. At the moment, with their price, they traded at least 93,475 Kenyan shillings. And when you look into the number of shares currently traded on the exchange, they have about 791 million shares. Well, things for East African Breweries Limited on the exchange look pretty good. When you look at the current pricing, they have at least gained 6.86% in 1 week. And in the last 4 weeks, they have gained at least 5.5% over the last 4 weeks. That's at least close to 6% in the month-on-month performance. This is the 10th best on the Nairobi Securities Exchange. The East African Breweries Limited also began the year with 167.5 Kenyan shillings, meaning they have at least gained 11.6% in year-to-date gains, ranking them the 7th in terms of year-to-date performance. Regarding the trade-wise, they are the 13th most traded on stock on the Nairobi Securities Exchange, and in the last 3 months, they have traded at least a total volume of about 5.87 million shares that are valued at 990 million Kenyan shillings. So they're one of the companies you can actually look out for the big stocks, for the big gains, and also for dividend. They are good at dividends, so definitely you can consider them for that investment as well. And in terms of trading, yes, they're not hyper active, but they are active, at least to the average volume, coming in the 13th position. I mean, out of the 65 stocks, as we know, Nairobi Securities Exchange, definitely it's something to reckon with, and that is East African Breweries Limited for you on the Nairobi Securities Exchange. Bamburi Cement gained 5.99%, and Stanbic Holdings gained at least 6%, and there were some of the other top gainers. Now, the data for Monday's trade generally showed a decline in the volume, because as well, like we had last week on Uganda Securities Exchange, Nairobi Securities Exchange also had a very good week last week. And depending on the comparison between data for Friday and data for Monday, there is a 47% decline in volume, a little bit of disinterest in the shareholders this Monday, and 18% decline in the turnover. And that has also brought the Nairobi Securities Exchange market capitalization slightly lower to 1.96 trillion Kenyan shillings, apparently. Let's get to the US Stock Exchange and have a look at Wall Street and what we had on the first weekday of trading at the Wall Street. Now, US stocks rose on Monday during the midday trading, kicking off the start of a very busy week ahead. The S&P 500 added 0.7%, while the Dow Jones Industrial Average increased at least 0.65%, and this was during especially the midday trading. The technology-heavy Nasdaq Composite, where we have stocks like Amazon, Google, Facebook, and Twitter, traded higher at least 1%. The yield on the Treasury bond, that is the 10-year Treasury note on the United States counter, moved up at least to 3.96% around midday on Monday. Crude oil traded higher as well in the US, benchmark with the benchmark WTI up to about $80.37 US per barrel. The dollar index moved lower a little bit, trading at around 104.20 United States dollars. The US stocks last Friday, if you actually followed, gained to close out a very volatile week, while bond yields pulled back from their recent highs. The three major indices last Friday rose for the week, with the Dow Jones Industrial Average accruing at least 1.7%, and the S&P 500 closing at 1.9% higher, and the Nasdaq at least 2.6% higher. The yield on the Treasury bonds actually was below 4% as of the close of last week. We're looking ahead of this week on Wall Street in the US. Wall Street will be paying close attention to the jobs data, or the jobs report, which is up for release on Friday. And the February jobs report is expected, at least as per the Economist's view, to show 215,000 new jobs that have been added to the economy. This is according to Economist estimates. And this is a slower pace from January's blowout number of at least 517,000 jobs additions. The unemployment rate is expected also to hold steady at 3.4%. Another key point from the report will be the wage growth, with at least a 0.3% month-to-month bump in average hourly earnings anticipated, and 4.7% over the year. That's the trading, my friend, from the US, and you can follow for more on Twitter. That's at Smart24TV to get to catch some of the latest content and updates as they unfold on the business that is happening in the financial markets. My name is Anthony. Remember, this show is proudly brought to you by Altex East Africa. To experience the magic at Altex, just simply dial *292# and follow the prompts to register and to be able to buy bonds in East Africa. I'll catch you tomorrow, ladies and gentlemen, same time, same place. And yes, tomorrow is Women's Day. Oh yeah, there's no trading tomorrow, so we probably might not meet, but definitely it's Women's Day. It's a public holiday, and the markets will be closed here in Uganda. Elsewhere, they want But I want to wish the women a very wonderful Women's Day. We are so proud of you, and keep making Uganda and Africa proud. My name is Anthony. See you. Bye for now.